And the church said amen. Amen. All right, beautiful job. We're talking again in our third installment of spiritual deliverance and bondage. We said bondage is when you're under the control or influence of a power, a presence, or some kind of opposition. Whenever there's something seeking to control you, you're under bondage. But we're born that way because of the original sin of Adam and Eve. We're born into sin. As a result of that nature, we're born sin positive. That means our tendency is to do evil over good. We will believe in more of the negative things than the positive things. 100 positive things can be said and you might forget them, but one negative thing and you'll remember that forever, because we're more prone to be remembering and focus on the negative rather than the positive things. And then last week I talked about how to navigate through storms, because into every life there's going to be storms. Everybody's life. You either have been through a storm, or you're going through a storm, or somehow you're headed in the direction of a storm. But storms are going to show up. The disciples were in a boat and a storm came suddenly. And it said the waves were sweeping over the ship and the disciples became afraid. But Jesus was also in the boat. But where was Jesus? He was down sleeping on a pillow. They said, go and wake up Jesus. And they said, Master, aren't you concerned that we're going to drown? And Jesus looked around at the wind and waves. He says 3 words, peace, be still. And immediately the wind and the waves ceased and it became calm. And that gives us an instruction. Don't talk about your storm. Talk to your storm. We always prompted to talk about how bad things are. You get on the phone and says, I can't believe what they did today. I can't believe what's going on. This is just the worst day of my life, rather than talking to the storm. Because everything is under authority. I've looked at kids and I always believe that there's never a bad kid. They just haven't been around the right parents yet. Because when you take a bad kid, you can be uncontrollable. Kid you're just crying and sobbing. You take him to grandma's house and she says, quiet. Everybody in the house gets quiet. Amen. My dad would say, sit, and everybody would sit in the house who heard his voice. Found out he was talking to the dog. I asked my brother, I said, why are you sitting? He said, same reason you're sitting. Under the authority, there's always authority. So you're going to have storms. So what do? In the midst of storms, the first thing we do is change our limiting beliefs. Change the limiting beliefs. Sometimes we're in a storm, we have a belief that we're the only ones that's going through a storm. That's personal. You got to believe that if God brought you to it, He'll bring you through it. He saw the end at the beginning. Before the storm ever occurred, God allowed you to go through the storm. And the key word there is through. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil because you are with me. But our limiting belief is that we can't make it through this. God, what's going to happen now? The same God that brought you through your last storm is the same God that's taking you through this storm. If you look at your last mountain, your last valley, the same God's taking you through this valley. Yeah. God is not limited. We limit God. Yeah. So change your limiting beliefs. The next thing is have faith in God. Yeah. Know that God is able. Our God can do anything but fail. With God, all things are what? Possible. But God never said it would be easy. Sometimes it's hard. And we just got to do it hard. God's God of the impossible, but sometimes the impossible just takes longer. It's a little bit more difficult to do the impossible. But God does not leave us. Have faith during those difficult times that it's you God's trying to prove. You don't have to prove God. God can do it, but God's trying to prove that you can do it also. If somebody else can do it, you can do it too. So when you get to that place, don't think, God, God, how are you going to do this? God says, just be still and know that I am God. Amen. Have faith in God. And the last thing, surround yourself with people that can help you make it through. I know we love Bobo and we love Willie and we love Shanika and everybody like that, but sometimes they've taken you as far as they can take you. You got to get around different people now. People that may not know you and may not like you. People with multiple personalities, and none of them like you. You've got to get around people that's going to be able to help you go to the next level. My father gave me 3 words of advice. He says, when you're in the midst of a situation, don't talk too much, eat too much, or stay too long. Don't talk too much. Sometimes when we're in a storm, we talk ourselves into a worse situation. It's not as bad as we just be still and allow that it will pass. Storms do pass over, don't they? If you give storms enough time, they will pass over. But it's what we say in the middle of our storm that determines destiny. Sometimes in the middle of storms, we establish principles about how we're going to live our life. If I ever get to this again, I'm never going to. I can't believe this is happening. Don't talk too much in the middle of your storm. Don't eat too much. Sometimes we're emotional eaters. When things get difficult, we start eating our way through it. I'm going to eat my way out of this storm. I'm going to eat my way till this storm is over. I'm just going to keep eating. We eat too much in the middle of storm. Let it pass. Just let it pass. Don't need to have another piece of pie or no more Haagen-Dazs or nothing like that. Just let it go. Don't talk too much. Don't eat too much. Don't stay too long. Realize that sometimes you got to just move on. We stop in the middle of storms. We try to figure out every detail and who did it and what happened and how did it happen, what went on. Just move on. The shortest point between storms is just going through. If you keep going, that's your shortest point through a storm. Keep moving forward. If you stop, you get caught up in a storm. If you turn back, then the storm takes you where it's going, and you're never out of a storm. You probably know people who's always in a storm because they never just bear down and just made their way through it. They stop in the middle of a storm. They look around. They want to talk to everybody and what's going on, and are you in a storm too? There's a saying that when you're going through hell, keep going. Don't stop in the middle of hell and ask for directions. Just keep moving. Somebody say, keep moving.